Hello, this is Stephen's Life, and it's about 10:40 p.m. on 2/10/2017. I want to tell you a story that happened to me when I was a young kid. My father used to tell me this story left and right. And it was about gold, silver, and a lot of things that went on during the time when the Spanish came up from Mexico. My father was a Christian man, and I'm going to tell you this story real well and what it's about. It's about a train of, and back then at the time that what they called a train, it wasn't actually like a train, like a railroad train of any nature. It was a train of mules, and they were coming up from Mexico through the Arizona area near Mesa, Arizona. And my father had a friend by the name of Ray. He used to own Ray's Rock Shop. Now Ray was a landowner. He had a son, and the son's, I'm guessing a little bit older than I am. And my Ray tells this story about how him and his son were exploring their land. Ray's rocks, Ray's, and everything. He said they found this hole. It was part of their lot in their ground, and everything. It was like a blowhole, on the top of their land. And they said, well, there's got to be a, I'm trying to think, a cave nearby. So they went to exploring. So before I finish this part of the story, I want to tell you about a little bit of history about this story. These Spanish people that had come up, and they had come up through this train with mules. And each one of these mules, I don't know how much gold can be actually discovered, or how much can be taken away, or how much they can carry per mule. But these mules had come up through the Mesa, Arizona area carrying gold. Now, these Apaches, Indians around Arizona at the time, had attacked these mule train. And there's about 40 or 50 of these mules. And each mule was carrying about 150 to 200 pounds of gold per side of the mules. And the Indians had gone down and had taken this train of gold and these men into a hole or into a cave, and they were like the conquistadors around, I guess, 17th, 18th century. And they had muskets and whatever it was at that time period. And it had gone into this hole, and the Indians decided to shoot them, and they killed nearly most of them. And they were going into this hole, and they were pushing these conquistadors back, and the Indians decided to burn the cave entrance and kill all the people and cover it up with rock and everything. The Apaches had done this and covered up this hole with rock and everything, burnt the hole outside the hole. Well, the way the story it happens is Ray, who owned a bunch of land, and Ray, I don't know much about Ray other than when I was a kid, my father liked him. My father traded a ring made out of silver from Ray's Rock Shop for 2 tires my dad had, and they were talking. They were good friends. Well, anyway, Ray had on this land. He went out with his son one day near Mesa, I guess it was where it was at, and he tells a story to my dad about how he goes on his land. They found this blowhole where they said, well, there's got to be a cave nearby. He's telling his son about this. And said as they went down and looking for this hole, they found this entrance to a cave that looked like it had been burnt out, and rocks had been sliding over the top of it, burnt cave. Well, Ray decided to dig into the hole, dig this hole out, part of this cave out, and it was, fairly big cave. I'm guessing about 12 to 14 feet in diameter cave. One of the cave is. And as he was digging it out, he found muskets and guns, guns and bullets and whatever case is, pieces of, pieces of skull bones and everything. And all of a sudden, this cave collapsed on him. The son had to dig him out. He was digging him out of this cave, and Ray never went back in that hole again. Well, they took the muskets they had found to the Bureau of Mines, and the Bureau of Mines had went out and they said, "Where'd you get these muskets from? These are about 15th, 16th century AD." And Ray had never told anybody but my father and myself and his son. And my father's dead. And this story actually took place because I was about 7 or 8 years of age, maybe 9 when this happened. Ray's Rock Shop was somewhere, I can't remember exactly where it was, but I knew my father used to travel to Benson and Glen and Mesa, Arizona. My father liked to travel a lot. And Ray's Rock Shop, I believe, was in Mesa. I'm not exactly sure. But I'd like to tell you that if you decide to ever go treasure hunting and you want to go find the old Ray's Rock Shop, I'm sure you can look it up in Tucson and Benson and all that other stuff, where my dad used to go hunt. And Ray's Rock Shop, Ray had a lot of land. I don't know how much land he had, but his son and him were out running around. I'm guessing his son's maybe mid-50s, maybe 60s, I'm guessing today. 60, maybe 65 years of age. And I'm sure his sons told his kids about where this entrance is on his land. You gotta remember, Ray was a very rich man, and he had lots of land near Mesa, Arizona. And I know this is true because I've got no reason to lie about it. None at all. I was a little kid. My sister was born in Tucson, Arizona. I was in Tucson. I was in Benson. My father liked to go gold prospecting a lot. He never found anything, but we did travel a lot. I want to tell you another story about some things we happened. I don't know if you know about a town called Golden, New Mexico. Well, Golden, New Mexico is near, like you're heading to Albuquerque, and it's in between the mountains, so I can't remember exactly the road, but it's one of the first roads like you're heading up north, about 40 miles away. Well, come to find out, Golden, New Mexico used to be a very good prospecting town. My father and my mother and myself and my sister, we were up in Golden, New Mexico, and my mother found a nugget about the size of my thumb from a black tailing mine that had mercury, and she found this nugget, and she showed us this nugget and everything. Well, about 5 or 10 minutes later, she lost the nugget. I mean, my mother was crazy, And so from the tailings, the black tailing, because they used to use mercury to get the gold out. Well, the reason why Golden, New Mexico quit producing gold was because they found uranium in the mines, and the gold was laced with the uranium, and it was very small chunks of veins of gold, and they found uranium in the mines, and now Golden, New Mexico is a uranium mining town, and people were getting sick at the time, and a lot of people left to go to New Mexico. I want to tell you another story. That's absolutely true, because my dad and I used to go running around and everything. It's Kelly, New Mexico. Kelly, New Mexico was a silver mining town. And if you ever decide to go to Kelly, and I really think you should, there's a story about a gold train and a big, huge thing, and the Indians had attacked the train and had taken the gold from the people and hid it somewhere near Kelly, New Mexico, near the riverbed near Kelly. Now, it's never been found, but I'll tell you this right now, it does exist, because in 2003, after my father had died, I found a coin that was in the Kelly, New Mexico area. It's solid silver, and it was in the area about where I'm telling you at. And a piece of gold. It was I guess it was a golden eagle. I can't remember exactly. And I found it up near Kelly, New Mexico. So I know this treasure exists because I found it right there in the riverbed in that area. And at that time, this train or this gold deposit is supposed to be buried in that area. And I know it exists. It's not just a legend. It's true. I haven't been back over to Golden, New Mexico, and I haven't been near Kelly in a long time. And I know that treasure that's in near Mesa, Arizona, about the mine train, is there. I just don't know where Ray's Rock Shop is. But my father used to go there a lot as a kid. And I was a kid, and I brought in something to Ray, which was Crisp Cola. I thought it was valuable, but I got a candy bar for it. And this was about 1970, 71 or 2, when my dad used to go visit Ray's Rock Shop. And I know it exists. And if it was a building, and I know Ray's Rock Shop exists. And I know that Ray had a lot of land, and I know his son's probably still alive. And I know that hole, that entranceway is still there, and it still exists. And I'm sure the son knows all about it, and it's near Mesa. I like to tell you that these stories I'm telling you about all this gold and everything are absolutely true, including the one that's near Oro Grande, New Mexico. Now, Oro Grande, New Mexico, I was told by a lady that lived there, and she was, I guess, in her 90s at the time. It was about, 1995 or 6. And she worked at what they called the Oro Grande mine, right around the time that Pancho Villa came up, and they closed this mine, and it's been there ever since. So I know that mine exists. I've been looking for it. I haven't found it yet. But if you ever decide to go gold prospecting, go to Oro Grande, New Mexico, go to Golden, New Mexico, and I know you'll find gold there, but it's irradiated with uranium. And then I know up Kelly, New Mexico, and I would suggest you look in those areas. And go look for Ray's Rock Shop, which I know is somewhere in Arizona. It's not legend, it's actually true. My father never lied to me, never told stories, and I know it exists. So anyway, while you're out looking for gold places to look for gold, oh, and on top of that, there's a story now. I think we got a little bit of time left before 15 minutes is up. It was on the highway going from I believe it's Mesa to Kingston. Well, there was a rock that fell off the side of the road, fell into right in front of a guy, and this rock that he found had a vein of gold all the way through it. And my father, like I said, never lied to it. He went over and took a few chunks and took it to the Bureau of Mines, and then he lost where he found the boulder at. And it's supposed to be between Mesa, Arizona, and Kingston, Arizona, on that highway. And the guy said that this rock had gone literally right in front of him. He almost crashed. This was right around 75, 76. And they went on this highway between Kingston and Mesa, I believe it is, and they've never found the gold in that area. So if you're looking for a place to search for gold, I'd suggest you go to those towns. Anyway, this is Stephen, Life of Stephen, number 12, and I just wanted to tell you what I know about what had happened in my life when I was a kid. And I'm letting you know now. I hope that somebody finds the gold, especially the one on the mule train that was found in there, that treasure. And that is actually in Arizona at the Bureau of Mines, as well as at the public library that talks about this mule train. And I know Ray's Rock Shop was there near Tucson, I believe. And I also know that Ray had a lot of land, and Ray didn't never lie. Anyway, y'all have a good day, and God bless. And I hope you find the gold.